Hey everybody, this is Jeff from Intergalactic Toys, and today's video we are talking about diecast. Alright, so this is a small portion of my collection. There are, though, a couple of cars in here that are for sale. But I'm using them as an example here of all the different diecasts that you get. Now, there are literally hundreds of diecast brands. If you're looking for diecast cars in particular, not really looking at the military stuff and the planes and spaceships and things like that. So we're looking at, cars. And so a lot of people are into, of course, Hot Wheels. And I'm more of a diecast lover. I really like to collect the cars that I like. Hot Wheels is a big... since Hot Wheels is really huge. They've been around since the late 60s by Mattel. So that's this portion kind of over here. And you'll see there's some Redline Club cars in here that, people love. They come in boxes. Sometimes they come in like tires, which is pretty cool. A lot of people are used to seeing them carded. And this is with the soft protector on it. And then I brought some loose ones as well. And then Mattel bought out quite a while ago Matchbox. So there's some Matchbox right over here. So you can see this one right here with the opening doors. This one as well down below. Comes with its own box, the way they were traditionally sold. And you can see that the doors open on this one too. That one's pretty cool. So that's part of the Super Fast collection. And then there's this one that's up here in this box, which is a Coca-Cola one. So you can see they come, over the years, they've come in packaged very differently as well. Okay, so some of the other brands. Big brands would be like Johnny Lightning. So there's Johnny Lightning. There's Jada right here. There is Racing Champions, which you probably can't see. That's right here. Brought an example of that. There is Green Light. So we've got Green Light here, carded. Okay, as well as one that's open. And the Jada, I've got one carded here for you. You can see how that is, as well as some of them that have been opened. Okay, and then there is some of the other brands that you might not be as well familiar with. There's Mini Champs here. This Porsche 914. M2 is one of the bigger brands. I put that back here. Maisto as well. So these two are Maisto, as well as the ones that we built. We have a Jada over here as well, the larger 124 scale. And then we have a Tomica. So probably this is from the 70s with the opening doors. So this is a promotional one, so I'm not sure what this one is. This is another Maisto 143 scale. So you see there's different scales as well here. And then we have Majorette. I don't know if I showed you Majorette. This is a Majorette. And I think that's pretty much what we have here to show you. There are, like I said, plenty of other brands out there. And okay, so we wanted to talk about diecast. We want to talk about the differences between these cars. Now the big scales, the main scales that we want to list are, so the 187 scale, which is like these two down here, okay? See that one, and I brought in this Porsche 356 as well. So we got 187 scale, we got 164 scale, which is what most of us are used to, and we see these cars right here. These are all 164 scale. And then there's the bigger scale. So there's 143 scale, like this Porsche right here. There is a 132 scale. I don't think I have one here of that. There is a 124 scale, this is like the Bugatti that we built. 124 scale, and which we don't have here is a 118 scale. And those are obviously pretty big. All right, so those are the main scales. You might be able to find some different scales. And so there's three things that I think are big when it comes to collecting diecast. And the first one would be quality, okay? And so quality of the diecast is important to many people. The next thing would be scale. The scale in proportion to each other when you're collecting diecast. And lastly would be rendering, okay? So when it comes to quality, rendering, and scale. So what's important to me is rendering, okay? That's the most important thing to me. And I can tell you right now, for quality, Hot Wheels makes probably one of the best cars or diecast vehicles that you can buy in terms of, you know, when a kid grabs this car and you know how they play with them and they bang them and so forth. And they're very durable. They'll last. Other things will probably fall apart. So we start looking at some of the ones that look more like models. We get over here to like this green light. Okay. Probably not going to hold up as well. This Johnny Lightning here is more of a model. Okay. So when it comes to quality, they're well made, but when it comes to playability and also price, of course, you start getting into these green lights. You start getting into Johnny Lightning M2s up there, right? You start getting into those cars, you start spending like $5 a car, $5, $6 a car. Whereas these right here, these are $1. These are all dollar cars. So you can't get better than that. And even their Matchbox counterparts, you know, that are, I don't think they brought a regular one, but they have plenty of them that are $1. So those right there, you can't get better than that for quality. Hot Wheels, I think, takes the prize there for quality build in terms of, especially if you're looking to buy for your kids or even for yourself if you play with them. But you know, I know most collectors don't; they just put them on the shelves. But if you're putting them down the orange track, most parents would buy these cars, spend $1, and have their kids play with them and have fun with them, and that's great. Okay, now in terms of rendering, this is where we talked about, whereas I really like rendering. Okay, and you know, overall, you can look at these cars and go, okay, so that's a Ford. We can see that. You know, we could see that we've got those are Porsches right there, and you know, we know what the cars are, but the rendering, well, let's use this car as an example, this Porsche 914. So this Porsche 914 versus the Mini Champs, okay? This Mini Champs 914, as you can see, put them here together. Okay, so this is what I'm all about. Now, what I really like is the rendering of these cars, okay? I'm a car guy. I love cars. Not every car, just the cars, certain cars, like everybody else. And if you look at it, it's not even close, okay? This is a 914. This is a 914, but, you know, it struggles. Its rendering is, you know, not that great, but, you know, its playability is probably great. And most kids aren't going to, like, this is from a car show, this Mini Champs. It was, well, 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, I paid $25 for it, okay? I've seen them, they're all north of $100, most of these on eBay. Whereas this car is a $1 car with some custom wheels. Okay, so, you know, if we forget about the wheels, even if we have the plastic wheels on there, we're looking at a $1 car. So you can't really compare this. Parents aren't going to give this to their kids to play with when they can buy that. Okay, so we understand that. And, you know, I'd hate to see this crashed. Thing is, and it's not out of the box, but here we go. If I start showing you up close, of course, it is a bigger scale. So some of you are saying, well, that's not really fair. You know, if we had a 1/43 scale Hot Wheel, maybe, you know, it would compare. And you know what, that might be, but you're going to find that Hot Wheels like to do 1/64 scale, and they do some other scales. You can see right here. Okay, there's a little tiny one. So it's not that they don't do other scales. They do other scales as well, but they're mainly 1/64 scale. Okay. But the rendering is nowhere near close to this, okay? This just doesn't do the Porsche 914 justice, in my opinion. So, not everything is profit margin with me. Making money, I don't make a living off this. So for me, collecting, it's just fun. I like to collect the cars that I like. And as you can tell by looking at this overwhelmingly, it is European cars and especially sports cars. So scale's not important to me as much. If you look at these two Porsches, I've had a person who really likes Johnny Lightning because of the scale and the rendering of the cars. If you look at these two Porsches, okay, this is this is a new Porsche, it's a recent one. This is an old one, really old one. And so the scale, it's really off. I mean, it's not even close. And they're both supposed to be 1/64 scale. But they're not. So, I mean, obviously, you know, and that's the thing, is when you look at these cars, if that matters to you, scale might be. If I noticed when I sold diecast, there was the guys that would come in and they would buy these little 187 scale vehicles because they were the HO scale railroad collectors that had those HO scale train sets. And they would do the dioramas. And so they wanted everything to look correct to scale. I don't blame them. I would too. So that might matter. Sometimes that matters to people, you know, the scale of it. So, but there could be other reasons. And if there are, profitability could be one. That could be a reason. You can say, I only collect what's profitable. That's fine. That's another way you can do it. Oh, and there's another one I forgot. Selection. Here you go. Let's talk about this. I had to order the Scirocco. I own a 78 Scirocco. This is a 78 Scirocco. If you look at it, it's a very, very good rendering of it. And this vehicle right here, that's the actual car I own. I just own it in white. And as rendering goes, you know, it's missing the rear side marker lights. That's the first thing I noticed. Most people probably wouldn't know, wouldn't care. They're like, okay, whatever. Has the European front headlights. I know Scirocco's very well. I've owned 6 of them. So this vehicle, you know, selection. Hot Wheels doesn't make this vehicle. They don't make the Scirocco 1 or 2, which is very disappointing. Now, maybe they will one day, but they haven't. They just came out with this Di Tommaso Mangusta, but my favorite is the Pantera. They don't make the Pantera. They make it kind of, Hot Wheels makes it in a funny version, more of a kid version. It's not an actual good rendering of a Pantera. I don't have one of those here, but I do have one. I just don't have it right here to show you. But I think most of you who collect Hot Wheels know what I'm talking about. So there you go. If I wanted to look for a Lamborghini, this is the Mira. If I want to look for a Lamborghini Jalpa, one of my other favorite cars from the 70s that Lamborghini made, Hot Wheels doesn't make it. Okay, the Corrado, Volkswagen Corrado wasn't made, and we can go on and on. They don't make all, Hot Wheels doesn't make every car, and that's okay. They might eventually. I wish they did. Some cars I could tell you, they don't have that quite collectability. I think a lot of people wouldn't really care. There's a lot of cars that are just transportation, and we can argue that, all day long. But I think that's the reason why, they don't make, certain cars. And that's okay. But then sometimes you look at some of those cars and go, gee, well, you make this. Well, why wouldn't you make that, And I realize, as we go on, like the Rabbit just came out, the Golf GTI, the old one. So there's hope. You never know. There's one that's not an off-brand kind of, is Lucky Diecast. So there's one right there. So a lot of you probably aren't familiar with Lucky as well as perhaps that 914 that I showed earlier, the Mini Champs. And I think there was another brand too. So Auto World is Johnny Lightning. So if we go back to here and we look at these Johnny Lightnings, right? A couple of the Bugs, right? 69 Dodge Cornet. So if you look at Johnny Lightning, you're going to see that, unlike Hot Wheels, those are probably the wheels. Sorry, there you go. Those are probably the wheels that came on the vehicle, which is nice. So when you look at some of these cars and renderings, you can look at the wheels. So that Porsche 914, of course, that's a bigger scale, just like that Lucky. Those are the actual rims that came on the car. So when we look at some of these, we can look and go, yeah, those are the rims that came in the car. Hot Wheels, though, it's not really the case. Hot Wheels, again, they're mainly toys, so they're putting out toys that these wheels didn't come on the cars. They're just plastic wheels. But even the synthetic rubber ones, even if you look at those, like we looked at these right here, this doesn't look like any kind of rim. Maybe, but a lot of the ones I've seen, they're not rims that come on the car. Look at this green light though, this Skyline. Yeah, looks like a wheel that could have came on it, or an aftermarket wheel. And it's not really scale in terms of wheels. There's car. I mean, Hot Wheels just doesn't doesn't do that. No matter how expensive they are, old, new, it doesn't matter. They just putting whatever wheel that might look attractive on there. And that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, one of the things I want to make a notice is that you can see these are all toys. I collect toys, so I don't want to say that Hot Wheels when it comes to that they just make toys. But let's face it, I'm a toy collector. Okay, so I like those cars to be realistic as much as possible. That's just me. Now some people don't care, but I do. And what I'm saying is a lot of these wheels are just made up, unfortunately. But, sometimes they look good that way too. So nothing necessarily wrong with that. So this purpose of the video is to introduce those of you, especially if you're new collectors or thinking about collecting, to diecast, that there is a big world of diecast out there. It's not just Hot Wheels, okay? And yes, please feel free to comment. What's the brand that you like? And if it's Hot Wheels, that's great. If it's another brand, that's fine too. A brand that I haven't talked about here, definitely put that in there and put the reason why. I would love to know that. And it's just in a word: selection. You like the selection of that diecast brand makes, or the rendering, or profitability, or quality. Whatever the reason is, put it in the comments. I would love to see those of you who are collectors what you like. Okay, thanks everybody for watching. Have a great day.